One of the things that's being thrown out is, debt that the county has. The majority of the county debt that the county has is when the public safety complex was built.
$61 million is what it's been. Is that about what our debt is?
Yes.
Associated with
Uintah County. And so can I take that just for a minute?
Yes, please.
Because I think that's important to know. When we built the public safety complex, I think the total price on that was about $55 million. I believe there's $38 million of bond that's remaining on that, or right in that area. And then what else is included on that bond? And I won't remember everything, but there's the recreation center, even though it shows
so
up
out
on
of the 61 million,
38 of that is
61 million, 38 of it is the public safety complex.
Yes.
Uintah Recreation
the rec
District.
Center is part of that, and that's paid for, again, not by taxpayer money.
It's by mineral lease money is coming in
right.
to offset
that. That is 100%. The rec center is being paid for by mineral lease.
Correct,
funds.
yeah.
And then there's a part of that being paid for by Tri-County Health, and there's a couple others in there that I just don't remember just what they are. But in any case,
the debt's associated with all of the facilities and infrastructure that we have.
I think it's somewhat being advocated as like, we've got this big cloud around our neck or something like that. Let me tell you, the independent auditor that does the auditing for the Uintah County, Greg Marston, he said Uintah County is one of the strongest financial entities that he does work for. And
how often are we audited?
We're audited once a year.
Once a year.
Can I ask you a quick question on the public safety complex?
Yeah.
When we originally built that, I was under the impression that we were going to be offsetting the cost of the payments on it by getting some federal and state inmates.
Thank you, Joni. Thank you.
Could you update us on what's going on there?
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I would have failed to actually mention a very key point there. Is when we built that, the idea of building a jail, you want to build it so it's large enough that, 2 years later, you're not having to do that again. And so the anticipation is you build it large enough and then bring in state inmates and others to help fill that. But it has taken time because it took state contracts. It had to be approved by the legislature. That has all been approved now. And in the coming, months, and I'm not sure just quite how long it'll take to fully fill that, but we will end up with, I believe, 216 additional inmates were approved. It'll bring in an additional $3 or $4 million to the county.
Yeah, that's I had heard that something on the horizon there.
So, again, Uintah County is an outstanding position. We are doing very, very well. I'm going to tell you, we are the envy of the counties across the state of Utah. We are just totally the envy. People look at Uintah County. When we go to meetings, they call us money bags. It's just like, all your money, da-da-da-da-da. They think that we are...
Is that going to come back?
I have some concern.
I do too, because I don't like people just to look at us in that way.
Because they can take it away.
But the fact of the matter is, the real truth is, in Uintah County, we have opportunities and blessings here that most other counties don't have. And I hate to even say this too much, but let's just give an example. Let's take fire control. Mm-hmm. We have a fire district. And we could do this on a number of things. But we have a fire district, 100% paid for by mineral lease money, our fire trucks, our fire stations, and even when a call goes out, everything is paid for 100% by mineral lease money. Citizens aren't having to pay a penny toward fire protection. There are so many of these kind of things that we have. I don't know that, people in the county really recognize, how blessed we really are, and to be able to have the resources and the funds that we have. And
well, I was going to ask you, when I first moved to this county, it was years ago, and I remember coming to a county commission meeting and hearing a lot about the boom and bust years from the people who lived here. And they were warning us before we even moved here, if you move to that town, you've got to be prepared. The bust years are, it's like a ghost town. And we lived in fear of that. And I remember coming to one of the early commission meetings, and I had been on the Council of Governments in Washington, D.C. on our Transportation 20-year vision planning team. And we had to actually do a vision of what we were going to propose for the whole Washington, D.C. metro area for 20 years. And I remember asking, what is your plan here? And it was funny because I kind of got a weird response, like, we don't need a plan for that. And we've been through these booms and busts before. But later, you made a comment that I actually think was a good answer to that. And you said that your goal was to diversify our economy enough that people could stay here. That they could stay here, they could raise their children, they could become educated here, and that we would diversify the economy so that it wasn't solely an oil and gas economy. And although we are a majority still oil and gas economy, that's one thing I've talked to a lot of people, even people who are running against you. Yesterday, you were complimented that is one of the things that you've been able to do in your tenure as the commissioner on the commission, and some of the other commissioners as well have participated in that. But I think that you've diversified the Uintah Basin, and a lot of people have participated in it. It hasn't just been you, but
well, thank you, Joni, and I appreciate that. And it is a team effort. There's a lot of good people working together, and I think some of those things that help that to happen certainly is our educational facilities that help that to happen. One of the things that we're still hopeful for is we've talked about this manufacturing plant that we're still hopeful is going to come in. I had a visit with the people here a few days ago, and they're still planning on purchasing the property. They said they're.
Tell me more about this. What is it?
Well, there's a group that wants to bring manufacturing of homes into the valley here. It'd be several hundred jobs. It is a startup company. For political purposes, I don't want to be overstating that, because the last thing I would like to have happen is, I'm on here and, advocating something and then it doesn't happen and people, you were just, for political purposes. And so I'm actually even going to hold back from that, but I am still very hopeful, and, everything I'm hearing is still sounding good for that to move forward. So